if it wasn't discrimination. And you have the nerve, you have the nerve to sit there on your high horse and preach to these bottom-feeding dwellers who sit in the chat room, like Alliance Blog, who's been doing this for over a decade and still only got 2,000 followers. Yeah, I see you. You're a jabroni and a ham sandwich, and I don't want to hear from you ever again about what the NWA is supposed to do. This is what pro wrestling is supposed to be. This is what the NWA is supposed to be. No. You don't tell anyone what the NWA is supposed to be, and you certainly don't lecture me about what the NWA is supposed to be. I made the NWA.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome. Yeah! Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five. Yeah. Woo!
Here's the story now. If I see Kevin Owens, or even someone who looks like Kevin Owens, I drop them on sight.
Welcome. It's party time!
So, what day is it today?
Tuesday?
Wrong. It's NWA Day.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
I was thinking that it might be a good idea if you and I formed an alliance.
Let's get ready to rumble! Attention, everyone. Welcome to the greatest wrestling program in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
Okay, let's party.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party presentation. Oops.
So,
Oops.
what day is it today?
Tuesday?
Wrong.
It'd be a lot better if I turned that off, right? Hey, what's up? It's the pre-party with your boy, J. Cal. This is a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. Again, my name is J. Cal. Each and every Tuesday, we come here to talk to you about the National Wrestling Alliance, to talk about the United Wrestling Network, to talk about all things pro wrestling, with a big emphasis on the NWA, because today is Tuesday, which is the day that the NWA runs their television on Roku Sports. You can find it right now in demand available, or you can wait till 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific to watch on the Roku Sports channel. You don't need to pay for anything to have Roku, but you do need to sign up for an account. But you can watch the show for free. And if you're a fan of pro wrestling and are looking for more variety when it comes to your entertainment options, the NWA certainly is an option that's available to you. And it's one that I actually kind of enjoy, so I like to talk about it. And if you'd like to talk about it, here we go. So a couple things. First and foremost, and we've spent a lot of time talking about, that's late breaking news. We'll get to that in a minute. We spent a lot of time talking about United Wrestling Network. We'll be talking a little bit more about UWN later this afternoon on the show. Tonight is their TV taping in Irvine, California. I will be there. You will be able to read the results for the show on our website, alliance-wrestling.com. We'll also have video clips and pictures that you can see on our social media accounts at the Alliance blog. Make sure you check those out. But the thing that that's kind of dominating the headlines this week, and it's really unfortunate, is what happened. What happened recently in Southern California with Knox Pro Wrestling. I'm sure you guys have heard it, because it's really disappointing what happened. If you don't know what's happened, I'll explain it here in just a second. But essentially, Rampage Jackson's son, Raja Jackson, recently attended a pro wrestling event. During the course of the event, while he was backstage, or while he was interacting with some of the wrestlers at the event, one of the wrestlers thought he was an actual wrestler and tried to do a spot with him. And I think the problem with that is Raja was not in on it. Nobody told Raja that there was going to be a spot. The wrestler's name was Psycho Stu. Psycho Stu is a veteran of the United States Army, and his gimmick is that of a soldier of fortune, if you will. He made the mistake of trying to work with someone who obviously wasn't a worker, and you do have to put a little bit of blame on what happened on Stu because of this. Soto's in the chat. Soto and I were recently at a wrestling event where we were allowed to participate. Now, obviously, we're not trained wrestlers either. We're not workers. We were invited by the company to step forth in the ring. We spoke to the wrestlers who would be essentially assaulting us in the match, right? It was all spoken about. Now, granted, they took a little bit of liberty with my boy Soto, but at the end of the day, we were taken care of in the ring because it was part of the show. We were asked to be part of the show. And so when we went into the ring, it was just to be part of the show. Soto and I didn't go into business for ourselves. We didn't go in there and try to end anyone's career or anything like that. We just went in to be part of the show. And it was like a lifelong dream for me, a lifelong dream for Soto to be involved with a wrestling angle. So this was all like predetermined, and we knew what was going to happen. They roughed up my boy Soto, but at the end of the day, he was excited to be in the ring. He was excited to have that opportunity. And I, we both appreciated it. We had a great time. That's not what happened here. What happened here was anything but that. We're talking about a wrestling promotion that is very small. Knox Pro Wrestling, which before this incident was part of the WWE ID program, which was responsible for training Rusev Miro to getting him into the WWE, to get his foot in the door, was known for Knox Pro is known for creating wrestling. It's a school. It's a school first, a wrestling promotion second. And they're not a big promotion. They'll do 100, 200, maybe 300 people at an event. They don't get huge box office. It's not a large scale wrestling promotion. And so there was a comedy of errors, really. The whole thing, if you've seen all the videos, and I think I've seen most of them now, there's only one person in the whole thing that I credit for doing the right thing, and that was the wrestler known as Epic. I think his name is Doug, like Milo or something like that. Doug Mello, I think. Apologies if I'm not getting his name right. I saw his interview today. You could see he's the only person in the video who tried to stop Raja from when the incident happened. Now, to just break it down further, so Psycho Stu hits Raja with a can of beer. They thought they were working. It wasn't a work, obviously. Raja was upset. He was very upset. And so what they, with Stu not knowing that Raja wasn't a worker, again, should have came in. Let me take my step back a little bit. Raja should have never been put in that position. No one should have touched Raja. When he walked into that venue, he is a fan, and the fan should never be involved with the wrestling, period. And despite what Soto and I did, this guy should have never been invited into a wrestling match. He showed up. He was live streaming the whole thing. Him getting hit was live streamed to his audience, and he no-sold it. Later, Stu apologized. Now, that was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do, but he should have never put his hands on this guy in the first place. So that was Stu's biggest mistake, was thinking he was working with the worker. If you don't know the guy and you haven't spoken to the guy, just because the camera's there doesn't mean it's your turn to turn it on. Like, that's idiotic. And apparently this was a meet and greet. I was under the impression this was backstage. Either way, you're working a skit for 10 people. What are we doing here? That's stupid. Anyways, it wasn't a skit. The apology, everyone kind of thought it was squashed. Everyone thought it was done. Stu apologized. It should have been over. Thought they shook his hand. That should have been the end of it. But it kept festering with Raja. Kept festering. He was on his live stream the whole time. They're talking shit to him on his live stream. For whatever reason, he's sitting there letting them gas him up. Then he goes and talks to the Black Pearl, the promoter of the show that was happening that night. And he said, oh, yeah, you can come in the ring. We'll let you get your receipt. Well, a receipt in the world of professional wrestling is very different than the word receipt out on the street, apparently. And I do not sound like Kevin Owens. Do not say such horrible things to me. And so what this is happening, there should have been some like pause, like, wait, this guy is really unhinged. He's super upset about what happened. And then you get AJ Mana, and I'm putting that name out there. I want you all to know that name because that is the asshole. That is the son of a bitch who went out there and gassed up somebody who was already unhinged, somebody who was already upset. He gassed him up even further. Oh, you got to take him out. You got to take him out. That son of a bitch inflated the issue and made it a bigger problem. And I'll say this right now. I will not support a single wrestling promotion that continues to use AJ Mana. I will not go to a single event that AJ Mana is on. AJ Mana is not a very good independent wrestler to begin with and should never be on another card again. Should never be allowed in a wrestling locker room again. He sold out Psycho Stu, and I don't know what their personal beef is, but it should not have been handled that way. So during the course of the event, they gassed him up. The match is going on. Psycho Stu is in the ring, and this unhinged MMA-trained fighting athlete gets into the ring, hits a double leg on a pro wrestler who and again, let's be honest, Psycho Stu is not a shooter. He's not going to be able to work his way out of this. He takes a double leg, like basically a power bomb. He gets knocked unconscious. Out. If that was the receipt, we could have been okay with that. I mean, at the end of the day, he should not have been invited to be in the ring. He should not have been participating in the match. But okay, if that was the receipt, all right, that was really effed up too. But on top of that, Raja gets on top of Stu, who's already knocked unconscious. It hits the man 22 times unanswered. He couldn't defend himself. He was in La La Land. They said he was choking on his own blood and teeth. When the ambulance got there and they rushed him to the hospital, he lost the majority of his teeth. He was unconscious. They had to medically induce coma because of the swelling in his brain. If you're on our YouTube channel right now, there is a link to the GoFundMe if you want to help support Psycho Stu's recovery. Again, I don't say he was completely innocent in all this, but he's most definitely the victim. Raja Jackson, Rampage Jackson's son, should never, ever have been anywhere near a pro wrestling ring, should not have been invited into the ring. And AJ Mana, who gassed him up, and Black Pearl, who allowed him to step into his ring, should both are culpable. They should be held to some authority here for allowing this to happen. And what really pisses me off, what really frustrates me, is that after this happened, and it happened in front of kids, man. It happened in front of families. Again, Knox Pro isn't a rated R wrestling show. It's a family friendly. That's the environment that it supports. And we're talking about one of their own who had been with the company for at least 10 years, if not longer, was laying unconscious in the ring, a man wailing on him. The referee did absolutely nothing to protect him. That referee should never be allowed to referee another match again. He should walk away from the sport in shame. The opponent who stuttered to help, and I get it. There's a lot of confusion as if it was a work or a shoot. But, by the time punch 3 connects and dude's not moving, It's time to stop it. And they we're talking about one man. You're telling me that, between the referee and the two wrestlers that were right there ringside couldn't stop this from happening. And then again, we celebrate Epic, whose real name I think is Doug Milo, who came in and made the save. He got hit a few times. That dude's the hero in all of this. He protected Stu. And for me, Knox Pro should be out of business. That should shut down right now. I don't care. I don't want to hear any. I don't want to hear any excuses. Rikishi should shut it down right now. There's probably going to be some lawsuits, but fuck that. On principle alone, they failed their student. They failed one of their own. They allowed him to be taken advantage of. They allowed him to be potentially injured and maybe never be the same person again. It wasn't assault. It was attempted. I don't know if Rikishi has released a statement yet. And I'm looking on both stream chats right now. Yeah, they haven't officially announced that Rikishi has lost the relationship, but more than likely they have. They've removed all signage that indicated they were a WWE ID company off of it, as well as they should. And this was a horrible thing to happen. This was terrible. It should have never happened. And I don't have the words to describe how angry I am about it. And I was saying this on TikTok before, and I'll say it here. I have limited influence in the pro wrestling scene. I'm in Southern California. I know a lot of promoters. I'm on a first name basis with promoters. I sent a couple of them Christmas cards, for crying out loud. I will make sure that AJ Mana never gets on those cards. Not Christmas cards, on those wrestling cards. It should have never happened. None of this should have happened. And, we're not, I want to make it clear, we're not concerned if Psycho Stu can wrestle again, man. We're just hoping that he can walk again. We're hoping that he can live a normal life again. And for all of this to happen, for what? For what? Because daddy didn't hug you enough, Raja? Go to therapy. Go to counseling. Go home. Go punch a punching bag, man. If you're that angry, go take it out on something that isn't alive. Over here on YouTube, I want to make sure that I'm pointing out my guys over here. Our pal Noob says, not to mention it was streaming on Kick live. Like, seriously, Kick streaming was supposed to be an alternative to Twitch, but instead it went too far in terms of content creation from streamers. They should have banned it. They should have blocked it. They should have ended the stream. Once he got in that ring, what are we doing here, guys? And I'm not saying that Kick is responsible for it, but that shouldn't have happened. All right, I'm gonna get some more of my comments over here on YouTube, but I'm reading your guys' comments over here on TikTok as well. I hope you're enjoying the chat. Again, this isn't typically what I talk about, but I was very fired up about it. Again, I kind of feel like I am an ambassador to Southern California wrestling. I was in Arizona this weekend. I was literally at an indie show when these videos started popping up on Facebook, and I started getting messages about, did you see it? Did you see it? And to be quite honest, it's disappointing that it happened. It's disappointing that anyone's defending Raja at this point. And I'll move on a little bit. Thanks for the follows, guys. Real quick, Willie Bowen has our Tyrus joke of the day. For those of you who don't know, Tyrus is a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's also a host for Fox News and was a former WWE superstar. With that being said, nobody liked him in the NWA. At least I didn't like him. Hi, J. Cal. Tyrus is a new job as the new blimp for Goodyear. Flying over the Coliseum. Over Metal's in the chat. What's going on, Over Metal? Noob, I'm doing well. Just fired up about all of this that happened. Bobby Petito, good to see you, Bobby. Haven't seen you around in a while. Soto brings up the Alex Misery interview. I did do an interview last night with Alex Misery. I pride myself on my interviews where I really try to get you to know the person behind the gimmick. Misery wasn't allowing that. He didn't drop the gimmick, or maybe it isn't a gimmick. That's maybe the scariest part of all of it. But it was nice talking to Alex Misery. I've heard it was entertaining. It wasn't really educational. And Noob says, as much as I like kick streaming, but sometimes kick streaming goes way too far. Apparently they let all that happen. Thanks for the likes on the video, Bobby. Yeah, Willie. His name should be Arsehole. He is an arsehole. We're talking about AJ Mana. AJ Mana, who is a Riverside native. So you're probably in my backyard somewhere, and I think you're a vile piece of shit human being, and I would have no problem saying that to your face. None whatsoever. Chris asks a very good question. Jay, did you think this was supposed to be a viral moment for Knox Pro, but went horribly wrong? If they were efforting to make this a viral moment, man, did they fuck it up. First of all, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If the guy was planning, if they wanted to make this a viral moment, they didn't do a good enough job showcasing that. The segment, the incident that happened before the match, it looked like it was in the back of a locker room, guys. It didn't even look like it was in front of an audience. And if it was, there was maybe 20 people there. That you're not going to go viral in a moment like that. Now, if this was a worked shoot and Raja came into the ring with the understanding that this is a pro wrestling show, and they did a worked shoot segment where he knocked him out, and then all the people came and pulled him out of the ring, and it led to a match down the road, then that could have gone viral. That might have been something, but that wasn't this. This was an assault, man. Some folks are saying all this is a work. I don't see that. Too many shots landed dead on for it being a work. Risk life and brain damage for a viral moment now. Yeah, I mean, like, 22 unanswered pops to an unprotected, unmoving person just laying in the ring. Like, no, that was assault. That was assault. J-Cal, whatever happened to the twins that were former NWA World Women's Tag Team Champions? The Renegade Twins, Willie, I think that's who you're speaking of. Currently, they're wrestling in Ring of Honor. So yeah, I mean that's what's on my heart and in my head right now, and here's hoping that Psycho Stu Smith can get back on his feet. Here's hoping that he will be able to live a normal life after all of this. Like, it's really terrible. All of this could have been avoided, should have been avoided, but wasn't, and that's very heinous. And again, Knox Pro should be burnt to the ground. That school should just be done. And I know people who work there. I've met people from there. Sefa Fatu, Solo has worked there. Jacob Fatu has worked there. But at this point, they should shut the doors, close it down, burn it down. All right. So this past weekend, I was in Arizona. And I was in Arizona for a very specific reason. A wrestling icon is calling it a day. Friend of the show, Navajo Warrior, who at some point will come on to this podcast before his final match, is calling it a career. Navajo Warrior has been wrestling in the independents and working with enhancement for the WWE for a good part of the last 25 years, maybe even longer than that, going back to, 30 years at least. He's worked matches on Raw and back then, it was like Primetime Live, Superstars, all that stuff. He has been a stalwart of the Southern West Coast wrestling, like I say Southern California, but really Arizona is where he is from. He's been around for a very long time. He had a hand in training guys like Mike Knox and guys like Samoa Joe and really kind of had a head with Frankie Kazarian and lots of other guys who we could talk all day, but essentially he's calling it a career. He's ending it. And his last match has been announced for November 8th. But as a tribute to calling it a career, he was supposed to have a tag team match with his partner, the Hawaiian Lion, who was going to be taking on Hollywood Yates and Mike Knox, who used to wrestle here in Southern California as the Urban Underground. Unfortunately, and this is breaking news, Mike Knox was hurt. I know this because I got to talk to Mike Knox after the show, but Mike Knox received an injury during the NWA 77th anniversary show, an injury that will probably keep him out of the ring for at least 6 months. He's set to get surgery on Wednesday. He's still debating on whether or not he's going to have the surgery. But if he gets the surgery, that means he's going to be out of action for at least 6 months. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's probably like 4 live NWA television tapings, to be quite honest. But we do know that when I talked to him, he was in good spirits. He was hoping that, he'll still be around. But, he'll know more when he knows more. But the show itself was called The Psycho Circus. It was for Impact Zone Wrestling, again, out of the Phoenix, Arizona area. And like I said, the team was supposed to be Hollywood Yates and Mike Knox, who had a long rivalry with the Hawaiian Lion and the Navajo Warrior. This was their final tag team match. Unfortunately, Knox was hurt, so he wasn't able to compete. We'll go over the results for the show, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. But there was a VIP pre-show that was available to VIP ticket holders. I was there, but I kind of missed the first 2 matches. Gino Rivera defeated Dante King, JKM, and Severino Cornette in a 4-way. There was a women's tag team match. Maserati and Rachel Riveter defeated Jen Savani and Savannah Stone. A big fan of Savannah Stone. She looks great. She is really transformed herself. She's looking really good. Debate it. My YouTube channel is at the Alliance Blog. It's that's where I'm at on all social media, at the Alliance Blog. Then there was a 6-man tag team match which featured friend of the show Anthony Idol and his tag team partner Damian Drake as the Neon Express, teaming with Maverick, defeated Baker Jeffcoat and the Celtic Calamity, Bobby Jackson and Ramrock. Maverick was eliminated early for this match, so it was basically a 3-on-2 match, and our boy Anthony Idol came through with the win. And then Can't Stop Jamal defeated Jacob Austin Young. If you've heard that name, Jacob Austin Young, you might have seen him in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood in the past. The show kicked off with EJ Sparks defeating former tag team partner, the Thugnificent. The angle was that Thugnificent had gone missing. They didn't think he was going to be there, but he did show up, and ultimately it was a great match. EJ won it. It was a very, very intense. Thugnificent really impressed me. I hadn't seen him wrestle before. EJ Sparks is the United Wrestling Network Heritage Champion. I've seen him wrestle a dozen times. Great wrestler. The next match was for the Wrestle Drag Pride Championship, a company I'm unfamiliar with. Ocean Avery, the champion, defeated Martin Casas. You might know him as Marty the Moth from Lucha Underground. Longtime NWA fans might remember Martin from his early days with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and the NWA Hollywood TV show. Good match. It was kind of chaotic, but Avery got the W and retained the title. They crowned a new IZW Women's Champion during a Psycho Circus match. And basically what starts off as a 5-way. And then once the first person's eliminated, it becomes a tag team match. And then once the tag team match is over, then the winner of the tag team match, it becomes a 1-on-1 match. So Miss Paradise ended up winning the title when her team of Lindsay Snow, yes, Lindsay Snow, who once appeared on NWA Circle Squared, defeated, first Morgan was eliminated. Then the team of Miss Paradise and Lindsay Snow defeated Alora Jet and Oliver Vegas. And then Paradise defeated Lindsay Snow to become the new IZW Women's Champion. They also had a ladder match. This is the third title match on the show. Damien Desire defeated Parada to become the new IZW 3D Sports Fighting Title Champion. That ladder match was insane. It was for ladder matches. That's one that you should definitely go out and find, the IZW Impact Zone Wrestling. Check that one out. It was pretty all over the place. Next up, you had Pete the Heat and Scott Johnson, who is a referee, take on the team of Affirmative Action, which is DeShade and Project West. Pete the Heat and Scott Johnson got the victory. When Thugnificent made his return to the ring and cost Affirmative Action the match. The next up was the Navajo Warrior Retirement Tour Tag Team match. The Tribe, Hawaiian Lion and Navajo Warrior, defeated Gino Riviera, who was substituting for Mike Knox, and Hollywood Yates. What happened basically in this matchup is Gino came out wanting an opportunity to prove he belonged in this kind of a matchup, that he felt like he's a superstar. But if we're going to be perfectly honest, he's not a superstar. He should not have been in this match. And he got the ever-living piss kicked out of him. And so much so that at one point Yates even turned on him during the match. So then we had the Psycho Circus men's match, which was to set up a new number one contender for the IZW Heavyweight Championship. That featured Mike G, Matthias from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, Jordan Cruz, also from Hollywood, Joe Graves, and Bryce Saturn, who you could also see in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. This one was very interesting. Mike G was eliminated first, which set up a tag team with Bryce Saturn teaming with Joe Graves, kind of like Team Arizona versus Team Hollywood, and Cruz and Matthias then were forced to team up. Now, during the course of the match, Cruz and Matthias were the ones kind of fighting each other the entire time, and Bryce and Graves were also on the opposite side fighting each other. So it went really chaotic back and forth. But Bryce Saturn and Graves defeated Cruz and Matthias, which led to the Saturn winning the match and becoming the new number one contender for the IZW Heavyweight Championship. And then in the main event, and this, I'll be honest, I wasn't even watching the match because at this point I was talking to Mike Knox. IZW Heavyweight Champion Bryn Thorne loses the title to Evan Daniels to become IZW Heavyweight Champion. The big announcement after this show was that for their next event, which will be November 8th, back at the Bullshooters in Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to see the retirement match, the final match of Navajo Warrior, as he will take on and defend his honor, his legacy against AEW superstar Samoa Joe. It's going to be fantastic. I got front row tickets. I'll be there. I'm very excited. And I can't wait to see this one. It's going to be phenomenal. No pun intended. Oh, man. So let's see. I missed some of the comments here in the chat while I was reading my notes here. Knox got injured. I spent some time talking to Knox during the course of the show. Thanks again to a friend of the show, Navajo Warrior, who made that happen. I got to talk to Knoxy. First and foremost, what a good dude. He put over the entire locker room. We were talking about it. He was talking about Marche Rocket, how much he enjoys Marche, how he feels that Marche has become a more complete wrestler, more complete package, and that at some point he would have liked to have worked with Marche. He also mentioned PB Smooth. PB Smooth stands at like 6'8". His forehead probably makes him closer to 7 foot. PB Smooth has been teaming with EC3. They teamed together at the Crockett Cup. And unfortunately, their paths didn't cross. Initially, it was advertised that PB Smooth and EC3 would take on the World Tag Team Champions Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox. We know them affectionately over here as Murdochs. But that didn't happen. They changed the match. So Knox was telling me that he was really disappointed that he didn't get a chance to work with Smooth. He feels like Smooth is a very good athlete, but doesn't know how to be a big man. And it didn't mean that in a negative, but felt like there's just a few things that he could change in the ring that would really establish him as a super heavyweight. There's not many guys like PB Smooth on the roster. Mike Knox is one of them. And I do believe and agree with Mike Knox that if he could work a program with PB Smooth would be better for it. Sorry, I'm very thirsty. Let's see. The other thing he said is that a lot of times for the NWA, the talent always goes out there with the best intentions to just put on the best show that they can. I told him, I said, look, I'm not asking you to speak to your boss, but sometimes the booking isn't our favorite. And he agreed. He's like, look, I don't have a say on how I get booked or what happens. We pitch ideas and we do what we're told to do. At the end of the day, my boss signs a check, and that's who we listen to. And he's not wrong. He was talking, and I asked him, I said, how did the partnership come up between you and Murdoch? Because you were with Cardona when Cardona came in, and he let me know, like, they knew that Cardona was booked way out, that Cardona wasn't going to be a long-term solution for the NWA. And at some point, Knox needed to figure it out, find someone else to team with before, he became expendable. So the pairing with Trevor kind of happened organically. They thought, hey, this would be a good way to get Knox somebody to work with regularly. I don't think that they initially thought that they were going to get over as a tag team champions, but they did, and they did a fantastic job. I wish I would have recorded any of this conversation. I didn't know ahead of time that I would have an opportunity to speak with him, so I was really underprepared. I wish I'd have just pulled out the camera and done a selfie, but I didn't. I probably got more honest answers out of him because there was no camera. But he's looking at a 6-month recovery time if he does the surgery on Wednesday. So we're hoping for Knox to have a speedy recovery. Because, again, Murdoch's, I think, was a very awesome part of the NWA. And I don't want to see that tag team end. I was okay with them. Well, actually, I won't get into spoilers. But, yeah, I was very happy to speak to Knox. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to hit these things as rapid fire. Finn does WWE on YouTube says, what are your thoughts on Becky Lynch about Ozzy Osbourne last night on Raw? She said the only good thing to come out of Birmingham died a month ago. To be fair to Ozzy Osbourne, he had some sense to move to a proper city like LA. If I lived in Birmingham, I'd die too. I don't have a single problem with that at all, Finn. I feel like they were trying to get heat. Becky Lynch is genuine, truly a heel. And why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you push that envelope and try to get as much heel heat as you possibly can? So I have zero problem with it. I know, Ozzy's daughter got upset about it. And, I get it. If it was my dad, I'd probably be a little upset too. But it's a show, man. It's a work. In the chat, I was asked what I'm drinking. So this is my creatine / BCAAs and water because I went to the gym today and I'm trying to recover. I'm a little bit sore. I'm sorry. Yeah, and on TikTok, Foxy said, she technically complimented him. Yeah, that's how I would have taken it. Let's see. What else are we going to talk about? So some late breaking news. This just handed to me. The NWA will be doing another tour of the northern states. It looks like at least they're going to have one live event at the Sacred Heart Catholic Academy in Glendale, New York on September the 26th. It looks like from the poster, we're going to see the usual suspects. We've got Tom Latimer on the poster, the Slime Balls, Natalia Markova, Brian Idol, Wrecking Ball Legursky, Joe Ocasio, and Kylie Page. So I do feel like this is going to be a great event for NWA fans. That's taking place on September the 26th. I also want to point out that our friends in Cattlesburg, Kentucky, have a good one to check out too, as they're going to have a live NWA themed event. I say NWA themed. It's not really an NWA show at all, but they will be hosting for the second year in a row a wrestling spectacular during Labor Day weekend. Silas Mason and Tom Latimer will do battle for the NWA 10 pounds of gold. On this card will also be the Country Gentleman, AJ Kazana and Casey Kazana. Carson Drake, as well as Dalton McKenzie and Dylan McQueen that you guys might know from NWA Crossfire. Plus, there'll be Nick Hamrick and local favorites from FTC. I don't know much about them, but that happens on August 30th, 7 p.m. It's a free show, so make sure you check that out if you are in the area. I don't know if it's going to be broadcasted on YouTube or anything, but I feel like that's going to be a good event to check out if you're in the area. I missed some of the comments, so let me get back to it. Bobby Petito says, I hope Mike Knox gets better soon. I do too, man. I really feel bad for the guy. Like, obviously they just had a very successful reign as tag team champions, but what happens now? You know, what's next for Knox? What's next for Trevor? You know, if this injury could really change a lot for them, so we'll see what happens. Kevin Owens hates Prime. Yeah. Finn says, I think making fun of Birmingham and calling it a dump was okay, but saying that was, she said about Ozzy, I think she took it a little bit too far. I get it, Finn. And look, everyone has a right to feel however they feel. At the end of the day, wrestling is supposed to be an escape. And if you can't enjoy what you're escaping from, that's a bad thing. But I feel like at the end, you know, what she was trying to do with Becky Lynch was trying to get really invested in getting the people mad at her, getting them angry, and she succeeded. Lego Ship, I just did a whole about 30 minutes on what I thought about the Raja situation. If you want to check out my YouTube, youtube.com/The Alliance blog, you'll be able to see it there. I noticed something that under the Bruce Tharp, a lot of territories left the NWA in droves. What was the story behind that? Great question, Patrick. Got a perfectly good answer for you. When the NWA was sold from Bruce Tharp, so I guess there's two questions asked, right? First and foremost, when there was the pro wrestling organization, that was the LLC of the original NWA members. And I'm talking under Bob Trowbridge, who was the executive director. They had NWA memberships throughout the country. Dave Marquez was a member. Ed Schumann was a member. At one point, Ken Taylor was a member. Mike Porter was a member. Fred Rubenstein was a member. Bill Behrens was a member. There was a territory for the NWA. And you, under that original agreement, there were members. Everyone had a vote. It was a co-op, essentially a wrestling promotion with a sanctioning body that was controlled by the owners of the company. They lost a lawsuit to essentially Bruce Tharp and his partners, which were Fred Rubenstein, who flipped in the whole thing, and Chris Ronquillo. So they all kind of they sued and won. Essentially, they received judgment, and instead of paying lots and lots of money, the settlement that they agreed upon was that the NWA IP would be sent to this new company, the International Wrestling Corporation LLC, which was Bruce Tharp's shell company. So he took over ownership of the NWA. It's first time ever that the NWA went from a membership-driven co-op to a single owned legal entity, which was IWC LLC. That company again was my headphones just died. Cool. That company again was owned by the Bruce Tharp, and when that change happened, they changed the whole plan. So there were no members anymore. The owners were the three men that I mentioned under the LLC. So they started with the new territory system. They, instead of having members, they had licenses. So you would pay for a license to be part of the NWA, not unlike a McDonald's territory franchise or like a Subway or something like that, where you would get to use the letters. They would help you promote your shows and stuff like that. But essentially, you were an independent organization operating as the NWA in your neck of the woods. What this meant was that the territories from the past were now no longer interested in being part of the NWA. Now they had to pay for a licensing fee, and there was a lot of things that they had to give up in order to be a part of this group. that it wasn't like that before. So when there was a change in the ownership and a change in the way they had the territory system, a lot of the old territories were out. They were loyal to Bob Trowbridge or Dave Marquez or whoever they were associated with the old NWA, and then this new NWA with this new radical agreement. These were licenses. They weren't the same. They weren't NWA. They were licensing the NWA. So that's why there was a big change in the territories. And then when eventually, Bruce ran out of money and needed to sell the NWA, when Billy Corgan purchased the NWA, they ended all the license agreements. They stopped all of it because they didn't want to have all these other promotions claiming to be the National Wrestling Alliance. They wanted one single entity. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago when they brought the territory system back to the NWA. So to answer your question, and I hope I did answer your question, is what caused a lot of the territories to change when Bruce Tharpe took ownership or when Billy took ownership is it was basically intended that way. Bruce wanted to set up a licensing agreement, and Billy just didn't want to have any territories. That changed. Finn says WWE Speed, is it moving from X to NXT? I don't know much about that, Finn. I think the Speed title was very weird to be a show, a title that was only featured on X. That never made sense to me, especially on a platform that's not known for being a video distribution. It's the same problem I had with the NWA being only on X for the time that it was. It just didn't make any sense. On a video platform like TikTok, you could take advantage of that. That would make sense there. If it's on YouTube, that would also make sense. If it was on any other platform that shares video content, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Facebook, even Instagram, like that would make sense to me. But to have it on X just seems stupid. Didn't ever make any sense to me. So if it's moving to NXT, cool. I don't really know what you do with the title at this point. And the problem I'm seeing with the WWE is that they have far too many championship belts at this point anyways. I mean, you've got ID titles, you've got Evolve titles, you got NXT titles. Why? That's all supposed to be the same thing. Shouldn't the guy in ID be fighting for an Evolve title or an NXT title? Why does he have his own unrelated, completely separate championship belt? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then do LFG have titles? I don't even know, man. It just gets weird. Really, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I think Trevor will be just fine. All right. That leads us to I haven't even talked about all I wanted to talk about. Of course, tonight on POWERRR. Now, you can watch POWERRR. POWERRR is available for you to watch right now on the Roku app. You could literally go to the Roku channels and type in NWA, and on demand, you can watch the National Wrestling Alliance right now. Or you can wait till 8 p.m. to watch it. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on Roku Sports, where it is part of their regular programming. So you could check them out right there. Tonight is essentially a two-match night. There's a lot of storytelling going on this week's episode, a lot of backstage segments, a lot of skits. I don't particularly like it when they do this, but I think maybe they felt like they needed to spread the content out a little bit more, which is ridiculous to me because they've already have in the can a TV taping from Tampa back in July. Then they also have the 77th anniversary show that they just filmed last week. And then, of course, there's going to be another TV taping in the month of September. So there's already so much stuff that is going to be in the can. I don't know why you're spreading this content even thinner. I feel like you should be putting more content out to get caught up with what's already been filmed. With that being said, tonight's show is really all about Max and Mims for the, I think, third time now, this time for the National Championship. And then also Alexander Hammerstone makes his NWA debut when he runs into the shit brick house that is known as Thrillbilly Silas Mason. That one was a lot of fun to see live. I think you guys will enjoy it on this watch on Roku. I hope you all check it out. Again, you can check it out right now if you want to. You can go watch it right now, or you can wait till 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on the Roku Sports. Plus, they do a ton of replays. It's there's a lot of NWA content on Roku. They also have the Wrestling Central channel, which is a hybrid of WOW Wrestling, the Women of Wrestling, and the NWA. There's always NWA WOW content on that channel as well. Patrick, to your point about innovative, I just think it was time. They initially were part of Bruce Tharp's NWA, but again, they weren't given an option to stay a part of the NWA. They dropped the NWA letters, became Innovative Pro Wrestling, and they could call their titles the NWA US tag titles, but one cease and desist will change that. I just don't think the NWA cares enough to do it. All right. So the last part of the show, because we consider ourselves to be the home of NWA and United Wrestling Network talk, I do want to point out that tonight, it's my Billy Corgan, we are going to have another night of TV tapings in Irvine, California at the Irvine Improv for the United Wrestling Network. And it's a stacked card, man. It's a stacked card. First and foremost, Viperous returns to the United Wrestling Network to take on Alex Gracia. I know Willie's a big fan of Viperous, so hope you're there to check that one out. A lot of these guys I saw over the weekend in Arizona, like the Transcendence, which is Bryce Saturn and I forget his partner's name, but they'll be taking on the team of the Wolf Zaddies. That's Che Cabrera and Bad Dude Tito, friends of the show, the Wolf Zaddies. They'll be in action defending the United Wrestling Network tag team titles. Also in action, Evan Daniels, he just won the IZW Heavyweight Championship. He is also the United Wrestling Network Television Champion. He'll be taking on Shane Haste from TMDK. You might remember him from a short time in the NXT as Shane Haste, part of TM. It wasn't TMDK. I think like TM61 or something like that. Anyways, Haste and Daniels looks like it's going to be an excellent matchup. This is a rematch from a couple of weeks ago when the two went to have a match and the Transcendence and the Wolf Zaddies all got involved. Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito do team together in New Japan Pro Wrestling as TMDK, and the trio of the Wolf Zaddies and Shane Haste kind of work together as the TMDK Wolf Zaddies collaborative. And Evan Daniels and the Transcendence work together. So this is kind of like almost like an Arizona versus California type deal. We'll see how that plays out. Also, Brandon Cutler, the Dragon, will be taking on Outlandish Zicky Dice. And Brandon Cutler certainly has been on a winning streak. We haven't seen a lot of Zicky Dice lately. So this kind of marks his return to Irvine. We haven't seen him in quite a bit. Also, EJ Sparks, who I mentioned earlier, and also I saw in Arizona this weekend. He's your United Wrestling Network Heritage Champion. He takes on John Hennigan, but I bet they call him Johnny United tonight. You most recently see him in AEW, but he'll be challenging for the United Wrestling Network Heritage Championship in what should be a very interesting match. We know that Scorpio Sky will be in action against Buddy Royal. And, of course, the world's heavyweight champion, Jordan Cruz, will have his first title defense tonight. Make sure you stay tuned to alliance-wrestling.com for all the news and information of the show. We'll be posting the results. We'll be talking about it. There'll be video clips. There'll be all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you're checking that out. Let's see. And I was not looking at your comments, so now I'll read them now. I saw I'm a big fan of the United Wrestling Network and Memphis Wrestling. That's awesome, Patrick. I hope you have been enjoying what they've been putting out. I really feel like tonight there's going to be some really good matches. It's almost like a super card. You got John Hennigan, formerly of the WWE, formerly of currently in AEW. You got Shane Haste, former WWE superstar. You got Scorpio Sky. A lot of big name talents on this card, so it's going to be a fun night of wrestling. Bobby Batito says Bad Dude Tito is talented. Bad Dude Tito is a bad dude. We're big fans of Bad Dude Tito on the show. Willie Bowen says he loves Viperous. And, of course, I've been fortunate enough to see Viperous wrestle in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and in Mexico with AAA and The Crash. She has really improved since the last time I saw her, and I think she'll have a really fun match tonight as well. Patrick, I don't really watch a lot of the Memphis wrestling. It's not that I dislike it, it's just that I don't have time for it. I kind of am limited. As being a content creator myself, I spend a lot of time in front of the camera, not behind it. And between watching the NWA weekly, United Wrestling Network weekly, and then trying to keep up with what's happening in AEW and WWE, I just don't have enough time to keep up with Memphis. A lot of the guys there, though, I do enjoy, and I would like to see some more of that. Willie says, where's my other soulmate, Big Mama? That's a $50 million question. We haven't seen Big Mama in the NWA. We haven't seen her return to the United Wrestling Network, but the rumor has it that she might be in New York when Gotham has their first show in October. I can't believe I've been talking for pro wrestling for 2 hours now, and my phone is blowing up. I got people asking me about everything that's going on. So I think we're going to call it a day here. Big Mama has been in Memphis. Yeah, she's been a regular in Memphis. But I think we're going to call it a day here. I do appreciate you guys spending your Tuesday with me. It really does mean a lot to me. If you guys missed any part of the show, again, we're on YouTube, youtube.com/The Alliance blog. You can see my takes on the pre-party. We talked about the situation with Psycho Stu. May he have a full recovery, and what happened between him and Raja Jackson, Rampage's son, that took place at Knox Pro this weekend. I gave you the results of what we had at Impact Zone Wrestling in Phoenix, Arizona. Talked about tonight's NWA card. Talked about the two events that are coming up featuring NWA talent. The one in New York, it's an NWA live event, and the card in Carrollsburg, Kentucky, which is going to be an NWA themed event, not an NWA show. And of course, we talked about tonight's United Wrestling Network. So I think that's a good place to end it. If you guys enjoy the show, please give us a heart, a comment, a like, a follow, a subscribe, whatever it takes. We do appreciate you guys helping our channel grow. We're 6,000 strong on YouTube. We're just over 3,000, almost 4,000 on TikTok. And we appreciate any follows, likes, comments, all that good stuff. We are trying to grow to create this community and have more content for you guys to check out and more talk pro wrestling. We have a Discord channel. You can find that in the video description right here on YouTube. And we're on all social medias at The Alliance Blog. So again, I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for talking wrestling with me for the last 2 hours. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance. Bye, guys.